Bleach Soul Society Breakdown, Day 29, where Lawrence has just read chapters 281 through 290 of Bleach for the first time. Lawrence, how are you?
I'm doing swell. Yeah, definitely fun 10 chapters that we've gotten into today on this stretch of our journey through the Bleach canon, and yeah, good stuff going on.
Yeah, I told you yesterday that this is where today things were going to pick up even more heavily, and that they did. So,
yeah,
the ball is really rolling from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
So to recap where we last left off yesterday, Ulquiorra had easily defeated Ichigo and revealed that he is actually the number 4 Espada, despite Ichigo's belief that he was the top dog. Grimmjow then kidnaps Orihime to heal Ichigo, temporarily seals Ulquiorra during a fight so that he can fight Ichigo himself in a healed state. They begin their fight, and meanwhile, Uryu joins Venji against Szayelaporro and forces him to make a temporary retreat to heal up and change his clothing. And where we fully left off was that Ichigo had donned his hollow mask to protect Orihime and Nell from a Grand Rey Zero.
Yes.
We will start things off with the poem for volume 32, which is called Howling. As you can see, it is Grimmjow there in his release state. One of the few people early in the series who gets 2 covers of the volumes, and he gets them pretty quickly. I think he goes from like volume 25 to 32, and that's I think the fastest anybody's gotten a repeat.
Very quick succession.
Yeah. So here we go. The king gallops, shaking free from the shadow, beating the armor, kicking about the bones, slurping the flesh and blood. The creaking increases. Smashing the heart, he walks in alone toward the faraway other side.
Yeah.
Scene.
Probably the most clear poem representing like a person in the story with Grimmjow. Obviously, he's talking about him eating his fellow hollow kind to increase his powers, and they viewed him as a king, and so very relatable to the theme of this volume for sure.
Yeah. So let's kick into things here. Right in the first chapter of the day, Grimmjow reveals his released state as an Arakar.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of Grimmjow's released form?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely. Is this cool? He looks. It's like almost like kind of like a Dragon Ball Z type, like sand growth. He has got the extended hair and the exaggerated features and all that. It's like half Super Saiyan, half like Gremlin kind of vibe going on. But
yeah, most of the Espada in their release state are supposed to resemble some sort of living creature, with Grimmjow being a panther. So he becomes a little more animal in nature, as we'll see later on in his original pre-Espada state or pre-Arrancar state. Definitely resembled a panther more heavily there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't technically, because Iron Yellow is not really maybe an organic hollow. He doesn't really represent anything in his release state, as we saw. He's just massive and bulbous.
Yeah.
So yeah, go on.
No, I'm just like, the only comment I have is like, thus far, I mean, I think the Bankais were definitely cooler than the Arrancar releases. I mean, that's that's the least important thing in my opinion in terms of what's going on. But I would say I like the Bankais more.
You've got some more releases coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So Grimmjow enters his release state, fights Ichigo in his release state. Nice even-ish match as they're going back at it with one another. Meanwhile, they seem to have some observers, and we take a slight detour to see the people watching from afar. What did you think of the people watching over the fight here?
Yeah, they seem to be having fun with it. They're like, oh, it kind of reminds me a little bit of during the Soul Society arc, there would be reapers kind of like watching on and kind of like and commenting on the battle, like you know, like it seems like, you know, they kind of live for this kind of like entertainment. You know, they've been kind of, they probably have been bored, you know, just preparing for this plan to like take over the world and do their thing, and they're like I think they've got a little like bloodlust in them, kind of being like, oh, we get to see like up close finally like a big fight between like a soul reaper and one of us, you know. So I think I think, but it's also interesting that they're not really rooting for Grimmjow per se. They're kind of just like they just want to see the carnage. Like they don't really care who wins or loses this battle.
Yeah. So the woman third from the left, the woman, you know, what's the best way to describe her? The woman with the interesting bulbous, fashion design is the actual Espada here, with the other three being her subordinates. So she is taking a gander at the intruder from her own section of Las Noches.
Right.
And she asks, you know, the three of them seem to feel fear from Grimmjow's release form, which he says is good. Fear is natural. It helps you fight better. And internally, she thinks about how it really feels more like she's watching two Espada do battle here rather than a human versus an Espada.
Right.
Which is, I guess, commentary more so on Ichigo's powers as in his hollow state.
Yeah.
So the battle continues onward here as they're going tit for tat with one another. What did you think of their fight leading into the flashback?
I mean, to be honest, like it was like a fun fight, I guess, but like it's one of those things where like I think that's just a common thing with like kind of like manga. It's like kind of hard to like really get too invested in fights for me, because they kind of just seem like frame of like thing smashing into this thing, frame of this thing smashing into this thing. I really kind of like, when it comes to like manga fights, I'm more into kind of like them like establishing the mindset during it and like what's going on, you know, and what they're saying, you know. So it was like they were just kind of like talking shit to each other, you know, having a good old time. You know, this is what they do. And yeah, so I was like, oh, this is cool. It's cool enough. Yeah.
So, you know, they're going tit for tat here. It's I feel like a pretty good fight, and that stretches out for a while. They're really going all at it with one another.
Yeah.
It's a knockout, drag down brawl.
Right.
Ichigo lands a pretty good hit on Grimmjow after Orihime chews him on. He comes to his senses a little bit, manages to catch a pretty crucial blow from Grimmjow and land one of his own on him.
Right.
And then we enter into flashback territory.
Right.
What did you think that we all of a sudden get a Grimmjow flashback here to pre-Arrancar?
Yeah, I was definitely very happy, because that's what I've been kind of like looking for, to get some more context in terms of like why the Arrancars are the way they are. And I think this was like actually a compelling, you know, backstory. You kind of got to see that, you know, that he's been kind of like put up to be like their king. He's like, he has people that are kind of relying on him to like achieve this like level, because they also like sacrificed themselves, and because they knew that they would never like achieve like the level that Grimmjow's at. So he kind of feels like, I feel like he kind of feels this like responsibility, even though he's kind of dismissive, and like when he ate them and was pretty much like, you guys sicken me, like that, like you're like pretty much like calling him soft, and saying like, you know, if you you'll get to see like the greatness I achieve when you become part of my blood and part of my body. But I think there's also a side of him, like the more honored side of him, that's kind of like, I have to like do this. I have to be the best now, because you know, I sacrificed all of my allies to attain this power. And I do ultimately think he feels like a responsibility. So it was good to see, like, to understand what drives Grimmjow to be so just like brazen and so confident. Like it really gave me a lot of context for him as a character, you know, getting this backstory. Yeah, it's really great to see here what happens for the Gillians, how they come into being, and then how they an Ajukas is formed, and sort of the pathway on to become the Vastro Lords.
it's interesting to just see everybody, specifically in the Ajuka's form, where it's really close to their release date that we saw them in for the Arrancar when they invaded Karakura Town together with Grimmjow.
Yeah.
So the flashback takes a momentary pause here as Grimmjow continues on the fight, pulling out his strongest ability, where he just basically summons giant claws of spiritual energy to throw down in midair. What do you think of this spread here?
Yeah, that was a great spread. Like I said, like once I got the backstory, that's when I was like more fully invested in the fight in terms of like I understood what the stakes were and why he's just like so he's just willing like push to the next level. And yeah, it was good to see, like his ultimate reveal in terms of like where what his capabilities are. So yeah, good stuff for sure.
Yeah. What did you think of the ultimate conclusion to the fight?
Yeah, the ultimate conclusion was, of course, Ichigo pushed to the brink. I like that moment where he was like commenting on like why is Ichigo like looking at him with those eyes, like and he was like saying like I get it because I'm a Soul Reaper, blah blah blah. But his point was like anyone that looks at him like they're like looks down on him, he like is disgusted by it and like So it was just like further like expanding like what the Grimmjow, like why he is the way that he is and all that. And yeah, of course he's ultimately vanquished by Ichigo, or Hime and Nell celebrate. But it's a kind of short lived because
we get this panel right here.
Yeah.
Nope, that is not the panel. We get this panel right here. And a nice little callback to a moment of Grimmjow himself that we went over yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, right. A little callback. Yeah.
Ichigo, when Ichigo overcomes Grimmjow's strongest attack and actually slices him, he catches him and doesn't let him fall to the ground from high up in the air. So leaves his body on the ground. They're just going to continue on, get out of there, because Ichigo declares that he will never back down, even though he's just one person. All he has to do is keep beating one other person. So then he'll save Chad, Rukio, Renji, Uryu, or Hime, and go back to the town alive.
Yeah.
And then as they leave to head out and collect everybody else, Grimmjow rises again. His release date falters, but yet he is still determined to fight with Ichigo. He wants it to the death. But then, what did you think of this little scene right here?
Yeah, and then of course, the man who put that work in on Chad, just 15 chapters or so ago, arrives and stakes his claim as this one's mine.
Yeah, Neutra shows up and says, "Fuck off, Grimmjow, you lost."
Yeah.
What was your thought of Grimmjow Neutra just showing up out of nowhere here?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't too shocked in terms of like, they're on the Roncar's like home base, and like they have like they're all powerful enough where they would sense when like one of theirs is like about to get like vanquished. So it would make sense, a lot of sense to me that another Espada would be very quick on the scene, after noticing like the spirit pressure or whatever, one of their fellow Espadas dying out. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me for sure.
Yeah, we're at the point now where I have been reading the chapters weekly back in the original release. So I first started reading weekly about after Grimmjow went to his release date. That's where I started reading weekly. So I remember when it felt like Grimmjow versus Ichigo was this big climactic moment. It's not over, and then Neutra just shows up out of nowhere, and it's bad goes to worse here. Out of the frying pan into the fire, because we quickly also learn that Neutra has a number as well, and his number is 5.
Yeah.
unique placement. It's on his tongue. Noitra's number placement is definitely my favorite among all the Espada because it's just so distinctive to see it on his mouth. Noitra begins fighting Ichigo. He does not give two shits about the fact that Ichigo is weakened. He says, perfect, fights are born of inequality. Fights are monstrous things. I don't give a shit. We then take a little bit of a sojourn here to Szayelaporro, Act 2. He returns to fight Uryu and Renji, who were unable to escape his lair. And he goes into his release state by swallowing his own sword and then exploding. And definitely is one of the most, I think, notable release states that we've ever seen in the series so far.
Yeah.
What did you think of this whole Szayelaporro reappearing, going to the release state, and the fight as we see it in his release state?
Yeah, so you do a costume change. He's back at it again. Poor Renji and Uryu are wasting their energy, unfortunately. Running around, trying to thinking, oh, we're gonna finally be able to save Rukia, and but then of course this guy shows up, and he's looking fresh out here. He definitely got the drip going on. Then he deep throats his sword, and he's back at it again. He's got the release going. He tells them, y'all can do your Bankai and whatever you want to do now, but which we'll get to why it's not really that much of a help, obviously.
Yeah, he seems to explode blood everywhere, and the blood, if it hits a living form, it duplicates them. They think the same way, and Ichigo, Uryu, Pesce, and Dondashaka find themselves facing off against clones of one another. Thoughts
in terms we'll see how this goes. I feel like it's an overused trope, the whole fighting you another version of yourself, but if they there's ways where it can be made interesting, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I thought there was some fun stuff in terms of Pesce and what's the other of the three, Donashaka. They had some fun moments of stuff. Of course, the number 9 Espada. What's his name again?
Aranella.
Aranella.
You're saying about this one. This is Szayelaporro, number 8.
Szayelaporro, number 8. Yeah, he was throwing out his dad jokes, trying to lighten the mood a little bit. But yeah, I'll definitely see where this goes. I'll put a marker, I'll put a pin on this before I fully comment on it, because it could prove me wrong. The fight could be exciting. I mean, I'm kind of intrigued to see how they're going to be able to get out of this situation. At least that aspect of it is interesting for sure.
Yeah, so I really like Szayelaporro in terms of he's pretty interesting. Like you mentioned, he's a little bit similar to Kurotsuchi, but I think he's a little more flair to him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, obviously,
Yeah. We will get back to, I guess, his fight tomorrow because we don't see a conclusion of it today.
Yeah.
It's going to take some even greater turns. I'll just let you know that.
Good to hear.
So Noitra is fighting Ichigo. He's pretty much mopping the floor with Ichigo. Ichigo is pretty wounded at this point. Noitra doesn't give two shits. I love the way Noitra fights because it's super agile. His design super distinct. His weapon is really unique. And then the fact that he also kicks a lot in his fights, which is a really good, I think, use of his design and his huge and lanky frame.
Full nostalgia.
Yeah, and also his shoes are pretty interesting. So
you said that's your favorite Espada, right? Noitra?
Yeah. We'll get even more into that tomorrow, but yeah, he's just really distinct. And tomorrow, I think we can talk probably a little bit more about it as we get further into the fight here.
For sure.
Tesla, who is Noitra's underling, is holding Orihime hostage to prevent her from interfering. He senses Nell, exposes her, and that's when Neutra notices Nell, who he reveals he knows.
Yeah.
Because Nell is a former Espada.
Dun, dun, dun.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, that was a fun twist, you know. That I didn't really. I mean, I was kind of like wondering like that she had to be special because she had like the human characteristics mixed with the hollow characteristics, and I feel like, you know, there had to be like some story as to like how that happened. I wasn't really expecting it to be like her being an Espada. Like I thought there was like going to be like Jesus like a really weak like Arankar or something, but like I was kind of expecting there to be some sort of secret power there that was going to be unveiled, but I definitely wasn't expecting her to be a former Espada.
Yeah, so Nell is actually a former Espada who she was apparently, according to Neutra, assaulted from behind so that he could break her mask, and she somehow, I guess, became a little child, and he cast her out of Las Noches.
Yeah.
He starts beating around Nell, even at one point using her as a shield to make Ichigo drop his attack. Pretty despicable stuff here.
Yeah.
And he is just massacring Ichigo, who's on the floor, can't even fight back at this point. And under duress, Nell calls out his name and undergoes a transformation, which is where we end off for the day. Nell in her original state.
Yeah.
What do you think of this reveal?
Cool reveal. I mean, I felt weird about Nell being hot now because I was just she was just like gonna be like fun Ichigo's like fun partner that ran around with him, you know, like the new Kon except better, and you know, and it was different when like Yoriichi became hot because she went from an animal to human, so I was like, okay, I can accept that, but going from like a child to a hot adult is like definitely threw me off for a sec there. I was like, oh, shielding my, I was like, oh, I shouldn't be watching this like a little bit, but then I was like, oh, okay, I guess she's yeah. I mean, yeah, she's fine though.
Yeah. So that's where we end things off today. Do you have anything else you want to touch upon?
No, not really. I mean, this was like definitely like in terms of like like ending a chapter. This is like probably the first time I've been like, oh shit, I really want to like immediately know what happens in the next chapter, because it's like that's definitely a very exciting kind of place to end. You know, with Nell, you know, becoming like a full blown like a Rancor.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see whether this means that her memories will be back in play now, and if her, you know, which could also mean that her abilities will be at full strength, and the fact that Neutra had to take her out by like getting attacked by underhanded methods means that she's not one that he probably wants to play with, you know, especially like looking at you, even though you like only see like a thin slice of his face, he doesn't look pleased by the reveal of her like going back into like full strength,
adult form,
like full form, you know. So yeah, definitely want to see, you know, how that's going to play out. Like I'm hoping that she puts a hurting on Neutra, that this guy's kind of being kind of a dick, you know, in these past 10 chapters. Well, I guess you can go to like 15 if you include the Chad stuff, but Chad kind of, you know, he kind of deserved to get worked. So I'm not really.
Don't worry, you're gonna get even more Neutra terribleness. Tomorrow.
Right. Oh no.
So originally you had guessed Neutra was actually the number 4 spot, which is pretty close considering he's number 5. What do you think Nell, her rank was? Because you will find out her rank tomorrow.
I'm guessing she was either the former number 5, which is why he did the underhanded methods, because he was trying to like move his way up the chain and he slowly, or she was like in the top, or she was like 3 or something like that. So I'm guessing either 5 or 3. I guess I'm gonna go with 5 because it would make sense that he's just trying to like work his way up the ranks, and he thought, you know, why not go at someone just above me.
So you will find that out tomorrow. I won't easily just tell you that. Tomorrow's going to be super fun. You're going to get Nell versus Neutra now. You're going to get more in Szayelaporro's fight against Renji and Uryu when he reveals a real doozy of a special ability. It's pretty grotesque.
Uh-huh.
And just another banger of a 10 chapter set tomorrow.
Right. I mean, I can't imagine what's going to be deep throating a sword, but we'll see.
You're going to hit chapter 300 tomorrow. You're finishing out the month tomorrow.
Another century mark.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
You're going to finish volume 33, which is The Bad Joke, and enter volume 34, King of the Kill. Yeah. Looking forward to also being able to talk more about Neutra tomorrow. A little bit fave.
More. Your guy. This is your king right here. This is Neutra. This is what he does, I guess. We'll see.
Shitty Neutra.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I can touch upon it a little bit. What I really love about Neutra is just he is so perfect to hate. His visual design is really distinct from anybody else in the series. I feel like there's actually some pretty interesting art to the way he fights as well. Just everything about the design is really pitch perfect, and he's wonderful to root against. Just like everything about him is designed to be hated.
Okay.
As far as his personality.
We'll see. Okay. Okay.
He's pretty despicable. Like that's it's fun to have someone in the series who you feel that strongly about.
Okay, so far mine's probably Okiura because I just like his kind of like his morally like ambiguous kind of nature and like
Okiura is my number 2.
Okay, but we'll see how I'm feeling about him in these next 10. I mean like because I can somewhat get behind someone like to love to hate, but like if they're just like terrible, like I'm like I don't know, we'll see. Like it has to be so terrible that I'm like laughing at how terrible they are. If that's what's going on, then yeah, I can get down with it. But if he's just like terrible for terrible sake, and I'm not really like getting a lot of enjoyment out of it, I might have to agree to disagree.
You will be rooting for this guy to get his comeuppance.
All right, let's go. No. If he hurts Nell,
he's already hurt her.
Yeah. But if he hurts now that we got Nell back here, you know what? If he turns Nell back into a child again, I'll be like, okay, I can get behind this because now we're back in cute baby Nell hanging around Ichigo. Okay, I'm fine with that. But if he takes out Nell like on the real, like duffs her, like ends her, then the whole squad is like coming after him hardcore. So, we'll see. All
right. Well, we're going to call it a wrap, I think, for the day.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Tune in tomorrow when we really get into things even further and hit chapter 300.
Yep. Exciting times.
Bye, everyone. Have a good one.